All right, gentlemen, we are now being recorded. So, welcome. This is our week 3 on Mary Griffin at the Derby Foods. So, present are Patrick and Jackson and me, and we are finalizing this week. And can we get someone? Would someone offer a prayer?
Sure, no problem.
All right, thank you.
Our dear Heavenly Father, very thankful for this day, for the opportunity we have to meet together as a group. Please help us to be able to understand the things that we're learning in the course and how to apply them in our lives, that we may be able to grow and um, help those around us. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. All right, thank you. So if you guys want to give me a sec, I got to find those questionnaires again on what I'm supposed to. I had it up the other day and just.
Yeah.
So Jackson,
I was just going to say it's under the case study activity instructions.
Okay, case study.
And then the bottom section says lesson 3 group discussion agenda. There's a little link there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hold on, did something wrong. Maybe I'm. Let me try this again. Sorry. There it is. All right. So how did it work out, Jackson, with getting the Google Hangout? Was it hard, or is this pretty user friendly?
No, it was actually easier than I thought. I thought it was going to be similar to that first assignment we had to do with like going through YouTube and making a recording or whatever. So
yeah, well, I mean, you will have to do that if you want to. I mean, you can use. I don't think he has any problems. I mean, if you want to use the school, I guess uses Zoom. So if you want, when you come to you be in your group discussion, you can do that. The rest of us will have to do it. Whatever is easiest for the person who's leading, I think go ahead and just use what you're most comfortable with.
Okay. Yeah, I usually don't do video chat, so this is fine.
I totally. If it wasn't for last semester, I'd be totally lost myself. I had to do like 3 or 4 a week in my other classes last semester, so it became second nature. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the discussions and everything. All right, so where is those questions? All right, so what do you think is the issue here with Simon and Shelbourne and Mary and the company itself? What do you think is the overall problem here?
Well, the issue is more so with how Simon has been communicating to some of the folks in the company with his new role. So it sounds like he has a history of being a really great employee. He's been promoted, and so now he's kind of trying to figure out how to lead. So we have no idea like what his history and leadership is or anything like that, but it sounds like he's maybe using a leadership model that isn't in line with the current culture of the business.
No. So jumping around, so I might not do the questions as it's written there. So do you guys feel that it's entirely his fault that he's doing this?
No.
Why is that?
I think the main issue that they have starts with communication. And so, no, at the top, usually, I mean, there's a saying like, if your leader doesn't lead well, then everyone working for you is, they're going to learn from your example. So, with Mary and Shelbourne and what was the guy's name? Simon. Maybe Simon hasn't had any good, real good role models to actually learn from. So I I don't think it's completely his fault. I think the company as a whole, because like in the example, it showed that Shelbourne even approached Mary in a way that maybe wasn't completely productive, I guess. So
No,
hopefully that makes sense. Yeah.
no, you made perfect sense. It's when she gave out the example, she automatically knew there was problems by the way he came in with his with his mannerisms right off the bat. She knew there was a problem.
Yeah, and it
so
wasn't
maybe,
addressed first.
So maybe Shelbourne. So maybe you think Shelbourne could have been, may not have collected all the facts. Maybe. What do you think about that? You know, before he made the assumption that, hey, Simon's been yelling at my people. Do you think Shelbourne could have done a little bit more due diligence and asked more questions? Like, was it really yelling, or was it more
Inquiring?
Just inquiring with with passion?
Yeah, and it could have even been that Shelbourne was yelling back at him when that happened. Who knows? But yeah, I think there was a lack of communication, and instead of Shelbourne approaching Simon, like, hey, your attitude, for some reason, Shelbourne didn't feel that he could approach Simon, and so he felt that he could approach Mary on that because she was in charge, you know.
And maybe the culture of the business is that way, where you can't, you have to make sure you talk to the department heads, so you're not talking directly to the. Basically, maybe Shelbourne and York were, basically the same level of management, and maybe he didn't have the authority. I don't know. It doesn't go into detail if that's it. So what? I mean, we've already addressed the yelling on the floor. What else was there concerns about York that he should be addressing his behavior?
The meeting that they had, the advertising meeting, where he pretty much rebuked his team for having an error in the slides. He rebuked kind of in front of the whole group. And so, I mean, my thoughts are both and again, it's kind of interesting to do these cases where you don't know everything, right?
Right.
But from my perspective, it seems like some of his points are valid points, right? But it's a matter of how you address them.
Sorry.
So you address them with people, the people that are involved, not in front of everyone else. That would be my kind of first view of what could be improved.
So basically, right off the bat, what do you think? How do you think Mary's going to be able to fix this?
Well, I think she has to have a meeting with them, and I think that the meeting, you first start out with any coaching, you're going to start out with, what's doing well. And so if she hasn't already had a chance to sit down with Simon and talk about his role and why he got his role, it sounds like he did a lot of really awesome stuff. He didn't step on the person who retired, it sounds like, and he took that role over. He never did anything to step on their toes. Like, he did a ton to increase sales and to really kind of help that guy change marketing strategies. And now he has the role. So I think you have to recognize what he's done for the company and say, hey, now that you're in a leadership role, we need to work on a few things. These are some of the observations that I have, and some of the things that I've heard, and I wanted to get your idea and help you self-reflect on if you feel like there are some things that you can improve upon.
So if I hear you right, you're saying she should do a lot of find out with him before she makes any assumptions or any recommendations first.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, it sort of reminds me of, like when we were missionaries, we were supposed to ask ask a lot of find out questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can establish the
common ground and stuff.
Yes, because you can't tell someone to stop smoking if they don't have any, if you don't have any common grounds to ask such a high thing of them.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think? Well, okay, so we'll play out a scenario here. Let's just say that let's say that York's story is totally different than Shelbourne. What do you think should occur after that?
It's a good question. I guess it would depend on what that story is.
We'll just say he said, I didn't yell at them. I mean, I did talk to them. I will admit that, but I didn't yell at them.
Well, I think the fact that you have two scenarios, right? She was in the meeting. She witnessed the incident in the meeting, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why she kind of realized there might be a problem. I think if she were to have heard these things about the production line, if she didn't already have that other thing that happened in the meeting, she might have not even really addressed it
Mm-hmm.
Immediately, or maybe she would have waited a while, you know. But now she knows, hey, I've got two instances here. I probably need to do something.
Yeah,
So
because
before,
in that example, it's never okay to berate a coworker, which is what he did. And
yeah.
I think even if he claims that no, he didn't yell at the people on the production floor, like after talking with him and helping him understand what he's actually doing, then have him publicly apologize, you know, because that would help morale probably too for what damage he caused. So
You think that? How do you feel about? Let's see what other questions. So, so how can Mary best reinforce the culture? How can she make sure that? I mean, I think we've gone around it, but let's concrete it. Like, what would be the best way to make sure that Simon is on board with the culture of the company?
I think, like Patrick said, probably just start with having a discussion with everyone involved, making it like a group setting, and then if there was further action needed, like Simon kept up his way of thinking instead of the company's way of thinking, then he'd need one-on-one time with Mary for her to critique him. But I think a one-on-one setting where it's more like a training of, hey, this is how we treat our coworkers or those who work for us. I think that's where it starts.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I would think that you have to have, my personal opinion, probably a one-on-one sit down with them before involving a group, in case. Well, not in case. I would say you do that, and then if it ends up being a situation where the entire leadership team is not on the same page of what the culture is, then at that point, it seems like you have to have more of a leadership training. And it sounds like that's, in my opinion, part of the root issue here as well, is they probably don't have any sort of training for newly promoted people into leadership. Maybe she should have sat down and had some of these discussions already about kind of the way that they like to lead their employees in this company.
Yeah, it seemed like he had really good ideas, and his former boss liked those ideas too. And once he retired, they just let him move on up without there being the formal training, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just say York. Let's talk about what should Mary do if York is like I am who I am. I can tone my down. I can tone myself down. I won't be like yelling, but I'm a very passionate person, and I want perfection. And I feel like
I think that there are some elements to that that are actually good.
Mhm.
And I think that there are some elements that could even be brought into their culture, but I think that you have to do it in an appropriate way.
Mhm.
I think that having such high expectations isn't a bad thing, but
Mhm.
it's a matter of the consequences. And if you're berating and belittling people in front of the public, not everyone takes that type of leadership style well. It might work for some, to be honest, and that's where you would have to know your audience, and know what everyone's comfortable with. And so that's where I think a lot of it just has to come down with general, this is how we like to lead. And you if you know your particular team well enough that some of them respond well to that, then that's fine. But that should be done more in a one-on-one setting versus in front of other people that might not know your relationship with your team.
So do you think, let's just do a little bit of role playing. Mary's about to sit down, have this conversation with your. We've talked about, making sure we emphasize the good on him. However, do you think it might be wise for Mary maybe to say, this is actually, I'm asking this because it's sort of I'm trying to always learn how to talk to my managers and stuff like that. What would be the best way? Would it be best that Mary could say, "Hey, York, maybe you didn't know, but I'm going to take some blame on, maybe the way the way you don't know the culture, and I should have been more forthright." Do you think that she should take a little bit of blame in this, or should she just say, "Nope, you're wrong," or what? I don't know if that makes sense.
I think she should take a little bit of blame in it from what I think I know. Going back to, we don't think that there was any sort of formal training.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know all the details, right? But from
Mm-hmm.
read into the situation and into the details, if I were her, I would take a step back and I would say, hey, I've observed and heard a couple of things, and we never have had a chance to sit down and talk about the leadership style that we have in our company,
Mm-hmm.
and just leadership styles in general, and
Uh-huh.
go over a basic leadership style training and say, from what I'm seeing, you're this leadership style, and you know what? That might be good in some instances. For the most part, the company culture is this leadership style. And then, like I said, I mean, the onus on her is more of a, hey, I apologize, we haven't had a sit down and have some of these discussions previously.
That's good. I mean,
Didn't it sound like the production floor fiasco? Didn't that the presentation meeting? As if it had, Mary would have recognized, hey, he's recognized his coworkers. So I would have, if I were in her shoes, I would have moment
mm-hmm.
before he would have had the chance to yell at the production floor, even and just say, hey, yeah, your presentation didn't go how you wanted it to, but there's a way to address those issues when it's not in front of everyone. So
reprimand is silent, but praise in public. So what happens if Mary doesn't do this conversation? What do you think will happen to the company?
he'll take over.
Yeah, that's pretty.
I don't think he would necessarily take over. I think that you would have a lot of people that are not happy with him, and I don't think that he's going to really get any place in terms of if he goes and yells at the production line, they're not going to necessarily work faster or harder for him. They're just going to hate him.
So
I mean, it's gonna eat away at the company, essentially, the attitudes towards one another.
So you're saying it will demoralize the company, making people think, hey, if he can get away with it, why can't I get away with this?
No, not necessarily. I think it would be just, he's obviously unhappy with everyone else, and everyone else is going to be unhappy with him, and just overall negativity in the company is not going to be good.
So here's a question that I would ask: if you're in Mary's position and this kept on continuing, I mean, let's just say his reports. I mean, he does phenomenal for the company. Like, if you take him out, the company's going to suffer financially because he does an amazing job. But he demoralizes the company in a way that people just don't like him. People are leaving because of him.
I'd put him in a design cubicle where he can only have access to team members through email.
I think it would be easy enough to find an outside hire that recognizes the success that he's had and is on board with like that same type of marketing mentality. I think you'd be able to replace him if it came down to that. And obviously you don't tell him that up front, but I think if it gets to the point where he doesn't agree with the philosophy and he continues to belittle and just cause negativity in the company, I think at some point you do have to have that conversation that, hey, you know what, this is not good for the company. Like, it might be good for sales, but we can find someone else that has the ability to also have sales while treating people with dignity.
Yeah. I mean, do you think his personality is his problem, or do you think it's a personality problem, or do you think it's a culture problem, or do you think it's a just, I don't know if you want to say upbringing problem? What do you think?
I don't even know that you can necessarily call it a problem at this point without having a discussion with him. Mm. It could be just a situation where this is his first leadership role and he doesn't know how to lead. It might not even be like a personality thing. He just might feel like, I have to establish myself as the authority, and we have an opportunity to teach him that, being a jerk isn't the only way to establish authority.
That's a good way to look at it.
Because his personality is also his strength, because that's why he's good at what he does. Mm-hmm. But like in the meeting that they had after the guy already stated, yeah, I'm sorry, it was my bad, I messed up, he continued to go and so like the problem was already solved, someone addressed it as their mistake, but he went ahead and went further, and all that does is make someone feel worse. So yeah, it could just be that he lacks the leadership training, but I don't know, something's messed up with him too, probably, it sounds like.
Yeah, it might be something. I think that, I feel like the root issue, if you're going to point at a root issue, and again, there are a lot of variables we don't know, right? Mm-hmm. But I think a lot of it really comes down to a lack of training.
Lack of training?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think maybe even a lack of expectations, where, communication, telling them upfront, this is our level of, this is our expectations of the leaders in our company. So we
switch on it, hon. Little black switch.
All right. So, I think it's imperative that when we do go into these meetings and stuff, we look inward first before we cast judgment, and hear him out first, and then find out more questions, and then help realign that person to to be on board with the culture of the company. All right, let's check something. So I'm just, I was just looking at all of this. I mean, when we have had these discussions, I mean, is there anything else? I mean, I think we've touched base on pretty much everything they've asked us to do. I mean, you guys have any further discussions or further comments?
Let me see here. Let me pull up my computer. Oh, dang it. I wanted to grab, there's one thing in my feedback that I got from the assignment that let's see if you guys had any thought on it. My computer locked. Hold on one second.
No problem. So Jackson, are you at BYU, Idaho?
Yeah, I'm on campus. I just got done with work and a workout, so.
I appreciate you making the effort to be here.
Yeah, sorry I couldn't Tuesday and Wednesday. So yeah,
No.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday after 4 is usually good for me. So I'll let you know if I'm not available.
Yeah. Skylar's on for next week, so just make sure you discuss, because I know him and I were planning on Tuesday, but I've been trying to email and he hasn't responded, so I hope maybe you should if you wouldn't mind making a direct approach saying, hey, can we do it Wednesday? I'm going to be out of town. I'm going to be out of town. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I'm in class Tuesday, so yeah, I'll have to message him and let him know.
Okay. Yeah, like I'm gone. I'll be gone after Tuesday next week. But I can do these Google Hangouts, so I can, if I need to, I can park myself somewhere and use my phone and outreach to everybody. So,
okay.
So we can try to be a group for once. This is I don't think it's very fun for the group leader to try to do a lot of meetings. So
no, because this is your third one this week, right?
But hey, I'm learning a lot though. I'm actually finding this is because like I said, right now we've had some massive changes in my company, and I am looking for every way to help my managers, because the previous one of the owners, 2 owners of the company left last year, and my brother and I who are left we're doing double role, and we've got to get the managers up to how we lead, and I've got to resolve concerns and everything. So this class is actually coming very pivotal right now in my development and my position in my company. So
that's great.
Yeah, that's cool. So I must have been thinking of different feedback. So the feedback on this assignment was just I missed a risk assessment. So we've already talked about that, like what'll happen to the company if they don't fix this. So.
Yep. So
I have no further comments, sirs.
Okay. Well, so here's how it is. I'm gonna go ahead and I will go ahead and post this on the shared email between everybody. If you want to just copy it, and you can post it on, and I will post this again online, and we should be good to go. Just want to make sure you guys, I took the liberty to put you guys, I don't know if you guys saw that group leaders sign up.
Yeah.
So Jackson, you're going to be week 6, and Patrick, you only have to teach once. Congratulations. So
well, I would only be facilitating, not teaching, but whatever you need.
There we go. Facilitating is even a better word. So.
I'm done with whatever. Okay. Thanks a lot for facilitating this week. Really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate. Yeah, it's been great. I'm looking forward to this semester. Hope everything goes well with you guys. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Thanks for meeting. Everyone have a good one.
All right. I'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.